then next input will be again very different. Now we actually we have Roman Gauss. He is one of the founding partners of Urban Farmers. And he insists he's not a scientist, he's an entrepreneur. His partner is a scientist, he's the business guy, and he's the boss. So let's hear what they do. They have an exciting startup in Zurich, and they will share what they do in the urban area.
All right, thank you very much. We're talking about farming in the city. So something that our grandparents knew, our parents forgot, we don't know about, and our kids basically long to get back. This is something we hear and we see a lot all over the world, whether you're in Switzerland, Kolkata, Mexico City, Singapore. The kids would like to know again where the food is grown, where it comes from, and how it's grown. So that's our mission, and I want to give you a quick overview how we're doing that. The big question in the city is basically what do you do with the space, right? And asking you, what would you do with a vacant rooftop? What can you do with a vacant rooftop? Like in this example, you could just take it and build a swimming pool, right? That's pretty nice. What we're doing as urban farmers, we're developing systems and solutions for a rooftop farm. So we're farming food in the city on a roof. And basically there are three things which stand out in our solution. We're a clean tech company. Okay, I'm standing here as a farmer. I'm the head farmer of Urban Farmers, but I'm a business guy. I have a scientist on my team, an engineer on my team, a lawyer on my team, another business person on my team, and we're trying to make this work in the city. And there's a smart way about it, and we have a technology that we'd like to present you later on that may be a solution for this problem. So there are three things that make the solution work. First, it needs to be sustainable, i.e. the resource effectiveness of how we farm needs to be better, or at least at par, how conventionally we farm our food. Secondly, it needs to be productive and have an economic base, because urban farming is a key trend throughout the world, but has actually started at the beginning through, let's say, a phenomenon called urban gardening. So people, harvesting their old balcony with basil and some plants and herbs. That's great, but we're talking about farming, so it needs to be productive. And the third reason, the third factor we're working on is reliability. Because if you'd like to do this large scale, which I like to do because I'm a business guy and I'd like to scale this really into the world, it needs to be reliable, replicable, and process controlled. And what's the benefit? Freshness, ultimate freshness. We're talking about bringing food from the roof directly to you, to your store, to your school, to your company, to your home, delivered within seconds, and we're eliminating a lot of factors of transportation, emissions, and ultimately cost. So that's what we're trying to do. As a business, we're a system developer, so we're not running the farm per se on our own. What we're doing is we're providing the packages. Look at us as the McDonald's of urban farming, or the Nespresso of urban farming. So we do the system, so we design the system, the rooftop farm for you. We're then gonna teach you how to run it, operationally, functionally, and then we're going to give you all the access to actually make it work. So you're going to have access to consumables, we can order products, additives, recipes, formulations, and then the service package to actually make it work. So that's the basic vision from a business point of view, how to scale it. And I would like to spend a few seconds just very briefly on why are we doing this. And I could talk for a lot of reasons on an environmental perspective why we believe farming needs to go back to the city, and agriculture needs to be part of urban culture again in the 21st century. But here is three economic reasons why we think it makes sense. The first one is that a rooftop can produce food. I've explained that. And given that we're going to be a couple billion people in the world, living mostly in cities, it could make a lot of sense. So food is one. Energy is the second one, and that is a very interesting synergy which we're currently exploring. So how can you grow food on an urban farm in synergy with a building, and synergizing energy streams, waste streams with the building and the farm to actually make it work better? Okay, and thirdly, money. There's a business case for harvesting energy and food on your roof, and it's going to provide a business case for saying, okay, should I build a swimming pool rather than a farm? Okay, let me reconsider. That would be the goal. We're seeing a lot of pull and demand from urban developers, from real estate developers, from own private and institutional investors on the real estate side to say, okay, how can we create this future city? And of course, you can add solar to your roof, you can make it more sustainable, you can, LEED certified. But the next stages of development are gonna include food. We're positive in the game because food has such a big part of our environmental impact. So what are we doing technologically to solve this problem? We're working on a very efficient and very interesting technology called aquaponics. It's basically a science that comes out of a research lab in Zurich, and it combines aquaculture, so it's a fish breeding, commercial fish breeding technology, so we breed fish, not only plants, and then we have an exchange, a nutrient exchange between the plants and the fish, which makes this very efficient. So we basically use wastewater from the fish, i.e. the excrements, the urine and feces from fish, and we convert that as an organic fertilizer for plants. So we save like 90% of freshwater resources that we would otherwise use. We use literally no chemical or fossil fertilizers, no pesticide, no antibiotics, and we have a very low ecological footprint, which is why we're doing this. In technology speaking terms, it looks really complicated, and it's not there where we can say it makes commercial sense. You see aquaponics throughout the world. It's been done for centuries. It's a very basic process, but to actually make it work is complex. So as a system developer and technology company, we're developing tools, and let's say at the end of the day, it's going to be a phone app, an iPhone app, where you can run your farm, your rooftop farm, on your cell phone, pretty much automatically through the help of sensors, gauges, control elements, and basically process control. This is what we're looking for to create. This is how it's going to look. At the end of the day, it's going to be a farm. So don't think of this as a really, futuristic technology lab. This is a farm producing fish and vegetables, and you would like to hang out on this farm because it's going to be really nice. I think that's really important. We're not going to create something that you won't like. It's going to be really livable, a livable space. So how is that going to do again commercially? They're already super trees. So somebody built big trees, gardens in the city. So how could that look as a farm? We're saying, okay, let's capture the rooftop, go on these rooftops, build greenhouses or shade houses, start to farm on these rooftops and actually make sense of these vacant capacities that we see in the city. So that's what we'd like to do. When we started out, most people said, okay, that's really crazy, or you guys are 20 years ahead of your time. My mother-in-law said you're crazy, and what are you doing? So what we said, okay, let's try to showcase that is actually working. So we created this prototype of a cargo container and a mounted greenhouse where we produce fish and vegetables on the size of a parking lot anywhere you would like. So we were showcasing this as a tool. It's actually now running at a school, at an international school in Zurich, where fifth graders take care of the box. They harvest the vegetables, they feed the fish. They actually show it to their parents and to their siblings. And it has a lot of commercial value, but also, let's say, it shows that farming really has a place in the city as long as we find a way to actually integrate it into the space. Here, a parking lot. But as I said, our biggest opportunity we see, and we would like to capture, is rooftop farming. So building farms on a roof. This is our first pilot that we're actually building just now. I was on the construction site yesterday. We're launching this project in Q4 now this year to actually farm. And what you see here is our estimate and our productivity estimates for what we want to produce. It's going to be 5 tons of vegetables and 800 kilograms of fish, which is going to roughly translate into food for 100 people. Now you can ask me, okay, are you saying that we can grow food on a 2 square meter per capita and you can feed people year round? Yes and no. Yes, for the food that we can grow, i.e. the vegetables, the herbs, the salads, the tomatoes, and the fresh fish that you would consume. No for all the other nice things like the chocolate and the cheese and the beef and so forth. So we're not saying urban agriculture is going to replace all of agriculture, but we think for some of the things that do make sense, like fresh, perishable items, like a salad, like a strawberry, like a cucumber, it makes perfect sense. Also commercially. 80% of the value of your fresh produce to buy in the supermarket is not the value that the farmer gets for the product. It's waste, shrinkage, distribution, wholesaling, retailing, you name it. So this is the supply chain innovation we'd like to drive. Wouldn't be possible without a team of crazy people and team actually that brings in different skills. So as a startup, of course, trying to combine those capabilities is really important. I'm a business guy, of course, and Andreas, who's going to join later, is a scientist. We really met by chance. And I always said, I walked into his lab and I really had this come to Jesus moment where I said, this is really what I would like to do and make commercially work. Our head farmer is actually a lawyer. So he has a farming background through his family. He's a farmer in Scotland and lawyer by training, and decided, okay, he would like to go back to farming. He tried out conventional farming. He tried out organic farming. He's now an urban farmer. And Francisco is our CFO, and I think for now we're looking at a team of 5 to 12 people in the next 3-4 years to build up as a company. All right, that's us in a nutshell, and I'm happy to hear your questions and inputs later on.